double check with you. Is this set up so that you can speak from it? And I always forget how to turn it on. I think it's pressing the bottom, isn't it?
I think so.
Let's see. No, that doesn't seem like it. No, this doesn't even seem like there's a button here. Is that why it's flashing? Okay. There's not another handheld, is there? So did it just turn itself off because it doesn't have batteries, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. So her alternative basically is to be at the pulpit, right? I mean, there's no other handheld here.
Yeah, once we run a wired mic over to her.
I mean, we're getting kind of late here at this point. You can't just plug in one this quick.
I'm not sure where the mics are.
Yeah, I'll just tell her she's gonna have to go up.
Of all the arts, perhaps it is music which most directly touches our souls. These vibrations of air caress and move our hearts and emotions, perhaps like nothing else. And so today, we come to celebrate the music, to celebrate the music makers, giving thanks for their gifts to us.
the power of connection that feeds our souls. Come, let us worship together. Good morning. My name's Michael Gardner. I'm a worship associate here at the church, and I have the distinct pleasure this morning of introducing Elaine Stepansky, who is our longtime choir director and previously a junior choir director and a maker of great music in this church for decades and decades. Elaine is going to be doing a reprise of a fisherman service that we had over Labor Day weekend this summer. It was a wonderful and spectacular service, marred just a little bit by the fact that we didn't have great stable Wi-Fi in the assembly hall where the service was conducted, so the people at home missed out on much of the music. Thanks to Ted Lillies and Dustin and others, we now have wired sound and Wi-Fi or whatever. When it's Wi-Fi and it's wired, whatever it's called, we have the connectivity in the sanctuary now for that, and hopefully those of you at home will be able to hear a lot better than you could that first weekend in September. Catherine is off today. By contract, she gets one Sunday a month off, which she observes about half the time or less, but she is taking today off. Just a reminder that this is, I think, probably the final Sunday when, if you're of a mind, you can share the plate with the First Nations Development Institute, the group which our speaker from last week, Tim Turner, spoke about, and in which we have committed to share the plate for these 2 Sundays. If you would like to make the contribution to share the plate, you can leave it in one of the collection baskets or at the front of the church. Just simply make the check out to First Parish, but on the memo line, put in Share the Plate or First Nations Development Institute, and that would be greatly appreciated. Heidi Connor and Sharon Nabreski have been holding down the fort with respect to hospitality all of this church season so far, and there will be coffee hour with some refreshments out in the back and in the area by the ramp. It's a little easier to get that set up there, and as long as we don't have a tent in front or any need for the tent right now, we're going to be using the back. Everyone's encouraged to stay for coffee hour. It is a part of the service. A reminder from the Reimagining the Sanctuaries Committee that there are 5 questions out there that we're looking to have everybody answer, and you can do that online or emailing Jim Hamilton, our governing board president, who's working with that group, any of your answers to the questions, or some of you may have been invited to do a sharing here in the sanctuary at some point. So we please would appreciate all of your effort in that regard. And finally, thanks to Gail Murphy and whatever magic she's got that she can make flowers like that grow in her own home garden. And thank you, Gail, for sharing them with us this morning. I think that's all I have, and but now we light the chalice, right? Okay, well, one more task for me. Thank you.
As Michael lights our chalice, I invite those on Zoom to light a favorite candle or chalice at home. The reading happens to be number 493 in our silver hymnal by Hildegard von Bingen. She lived from 1098 to 1179 in Rhineland, Germany. She accomplished many impressive things in her 81 years, among them composing one of the largest repertories of any medieval composer. Fire of the Spirit, life of the lives of creatures, spiral of sanctity, bond of all natures, glow of charity, lights of clarity, taste of sweetness to the fallen, Be with us and hear us, composer of all things, joy in the glory, strong honor, be with us and hear us. Now we're going to play the doxology. All right, so I volunteered to do the first testimonial about the sanctuary and our questionnaire. And this is kind of a mishmash of answers to number 4 and 5. It's feelings I hope others will have in this space and my personal feelings. I love this room. I've loved it since the very first time I entered it at the Christmas pageant way back in 1974. It feels very strange to be so old that I can say way back to describe a year that wasn't even in my childhood, but here I am doing it. Laurel Zachariason was in charge of the pageant that year, and Winky O'Connell was RE director. Paul, my husband, and I had met Laurel when she was teaching childbirth classes at South Shore Hospital before our second daughter, Meredith, was born. We were excited because Paul was going to be allowed in the delivery room, unlike 3 years earlier when he was not welcome at our daughter Becky's birth. What a difference a few years can make. We all know that now more than ever in these times. We had just adopted 11-year-old Ken and needed a church to continue his spiritual education. Ken had been attending his foster family's Roman Catholic church. His foster parents were a little shocked when they told us what he was supposed to be doing next in the order of his church, and Paul and I looked at each other in shock and said, no, I don't think we can do that. We're not Catholic. So we wanted to make some effort to get him into some kind of a Sunday school program. Laurel, who was by then our very good friend, suggested this church, her church. And she said it would be a perfect fit for us with our younger kids and Ken. And it was a perfect fit. I was immediately drafted to start a junior choir, and we were off and running for all the pageants and plays to come. So, although I do love the simplicity and beauty of this awesome space, it's the people and all of our years of activities, gatherings, spiritual moments, and especially the music that I treasure the most. Rather than say what I'd like to see done, or deleted, or added, I just offer a hope that no matter what we do or don't change in this room, some things will never change. The feeling of welcome, beauty, community, contemplation, and excitement for future individuals and families. Now, I don't know where to go. I don't want to go up in the pulpit is the problem. All right, now for a little bell history. When we welcome in the new year, we often say, ring out the old and ring in the new. Bells provoke life energies. I know this personally because I feel not only the joy of being with friends when playing bells, but also the lift to my spirits whenever I ring. People have always felt the need to make ringing sounds. The first handbells were simple gourds, shells, cups of clay, wood, or stone struck with sticks. Small metal bells were used on several continents as far back as 3000 BC, and larger bells were first present in China. In Asian cultures, bells have always played a very positive role in everyday life. Buddhists believe that bells signify wisdom. Their ringing synchronizes the left and right sides of the brain, jolts us away from the cares of daily life, and makes us aware and open to positive feelings. Every temple has a bell, large or small, at the entrance to be rung much as we knock or ring a doorbell to announce our arrival. By the mid-500s, monks were casting bells of several tons each. By the 8th century, England was building bell towers for their sets of tuned bells. Bells were always referred to as she and believed to have mystical powers. Stories of their power to heal, to drive away evil, to calm storms, and to save people from plague, pests, and enemies led to bells being rung at the time of death to keep the devil away from departing souls. Conquerors would seize town bells as a badge of victory. One of the biggest blows an invading army could inflict on a town was to silence the church bells, because it destroyed the warning system of the communities. In the Middle Ages, bells tolled for life events, victories, defeats, market openings, fires, the hours of the day, and warning of catastrophe. Holland and Belgium were also becoming famous for the height of their carillon towers, many of which are still attracting tourists today. A traditional English rhyme was, "Disturbers of the human race, your bells are always ringing. I wish the rope were round your necks and you upon them swinging." This was because the British had developed a system called change ringing, using mathematical sequences. It became highly popular among the strong young men of the villages, leading to competitions among towns. They often became quite rowdy, a rowdy bunch, with standards of behavior deteriorating. The huge bells disturbed the neighbors so much that the men created small sets of clapperless bells. They called them dumb bells. They weren't very satisfying, so something more like our present-day bell was developed. Wow, they found that they could actually play songs now. They started organizing bell choirs and held fierce competitions among the towns. But the old tower bells are still popular, and present-day UK newspapers and posters have ads for tower bell ringing. It sounds much more civilized, though. They say, "Meet new people of every age from all walks of life. Become more physically active through ringing. Once you learn the basic techniques, you will always be welcome to visit any of the 5,000 bell towers in the UK." In the 1830s, groups were touring near and far, even to Australia. The Peak family ringers introduced English handbells to America. P.T. Barnum sponsored a group of Lancashire men ringers, bringing them on tour with his circus and billing them as the Swiss bell ringers. I guess he was thinking of Swiss cowbells. Barnum had them grow long mustaches, dress in Swift's mountain clothes, and forbade them to speak, lest their secret identity be discovered. Bells continued to be looked upon as desirable loot in times of war. During our Civil War, plantation bells were valuable and easily subjected to looting by Union troops. 12 of the huge bells were brought up the Mississippi River to Illinois by just one Union officer. To prevent similar looting on their plantations, some owners buried their bells along with the family silver. Now, to bring us to America, we'll play A Gift to Be Simple. It's always important to look at your bells and make sure you have the right ones, because for different pieces, you might need to have a different bell, a different sharp or flat. Oops, doing simple guess. Good, good sound. So now we're in America, and in 1923, Margaret Shircliffe of Boston founded the Beacon Hill Ringers, which led to her becoming president of the American Guild of English Handbell Ringers. It's now called the Handbell Musicians of America. They have thousands of members, including me. They hold many regional and national events, workshops, and concerts. Handbell groups and soloists play throughout the whole year, not only at Christmas, as some people think. Now, I'm very proud of this because Marshfield's own Elizabeth Bradford joined the Beacon Hill group early on to ring carols each Christmas Eve. She became an internationally recognized handbell soloist, and she used bells to develop methods that helped her learning disabled students in the Marshfield schools. She considered bell ringing to be an excellent source of visual and cognitive skill, as well as good physical workout with a huge socially positive payoff. Ringing uses both short and long-term memory to create new pathways in the brain, with the same benefits as learning a new language of any kind. Actually, you could say that about any musical activity. Perhaps it was this power to jog the brain that gave us the phrases, "That rings a bell," or "That doesn't ring a bell." Elizabeth died in 2007 at the age of 101. Several well-known handbell directors from all over New England came to ring at her memorial service at Marshfield's Branch Rock Chapel. I was so glad to be there because it was amazing. While she was in her 80s and early 90s, our bell choir was one of 4 or 5 local bell choirs who played at a yearly concert that she helped to organize to benefit the SPCC. I was honored to visit her at home on Pudding Hill to help plan some of these concerts. Everyone would bring baby clothes and items as an admission donation. Our bell choir, us, started in 1993 when Jackie Smith-Miller, our RE director at the time, proposed that it would be a great thing for our church. As junior choir director, I was drafted to form and direct it. That's similar to how most bell choirs find their directors. They just say, "Hey, you're musical, direct the bell choir." And no training or anything. And in those days, it was pretty early, too, so we didn't have the classes right nearby for me to go to. We started with 4 of us playing 8 bells. We had no proper bell music, so we played rounds and tunes that I transcribed. Our first time in church was fall of '93, with Polly Landman, Tim Stanton, who still plays with us occasionally, Tim's son Liam, and I. I remember I played a wrong note, and Liam immediately turned and gave me a frown. And of course, that's what players are jokingly advised to do if they made a mistake. Blame the next guy. Over the years, we have had many players come and go and come back again. Polly has stuck with it all these 28 years. Thank you, Polly. We've gradually increased our set to 4.5 octaves, 56 bells in all. We really want to recruit more members so we can play all of those bells. So if you think you'd like to try ringing, please let me know. I gained 2 members after the fisherman's service, so I'm hopeful. For years, we played with a full choir of 12 to 15 people, and I miss those days. All but a few of our bells have been dedicated to individuals, either in memoriam or in honor. The plaques with brass nameplates are in our vestibule, and I encourage you to read them sometime. It's like a time capsule of present and past members of our congregation. As you could see and hear, the smaller the bell, the higher the sound. Handbells range from 2 inches to 2 feet in diameter. Large bells can weigh 18 pounds. Each player is responsible for 2 notes and their sharps and flats, and must play these notes as they occur in the music. Lots of practice and rhythmic precision is needed to create continuity. Ringers play both melody and accompaniment lines at varying times, so the overall effect is that everyone operates as one instrument. We use the name First Parish Chalice Ringers of Duxbury when playing outside the church. Here, we are simply the bell choir. Early on, we considered calling ourselves the Duxbury Dingalings, but good sense prevailed. We have played in Sunday services at other churches in Duxbury, Marshfield, and Kingston. We have also played at several memorial services. One memorable one was held in a tent on a rainy day in a cranberry bog. We also played at a beautiful outdoor wedding on a hill overlooking the North River. I remember that the bride was so nervous, and we had practiced the wedding march so much, but she wanted Edelweiss as the little flower girls came in, and she was so far away down the field she couldn't hear what we were playing. So they came into Edelweiss also, so we never played the wedding march, but that's okay. We have played during Snug Harbor Chorus Christmas concerts, Duxbury's Holly Days, Hingham's North Church Christmas concerts, and other community events. We attend professional I must be hungry, handbell concerts for inspiration, and some of us attended handbell camp for several years in Lisbon, New Hampshire, to play and study with experienced directors. Those attending with me were Lana Gerhardt, Susan Taylor, Renata Winter, Judy Jorgensen, and my daughter Meredith. We learned what we had been doing wrong, which was lots, and how to play special effects such as echoes, gyros, martellados, plucks, shakes, and swings. There are many types of notations used only for handbell music. For instance, LV means to let the bell keep vibrating until you see the sign to resume damping. Damping is done against the shoulder so that your tones don't clash with your neighbors. Now, here's one of my favorite old Methodist hymns. There's a song in the air. It would have helped if I had remembered to turn my page for the next piece. All right, now we get to the chimes, and I hope that you all picked up a chime as you came in, but I'll tell you a little bit about it first. They're a recent development, first appearing in the 1980s. Bell composers often use them as a contrasting tonal quality to the more complex sound of bells. Sometimes they'll put a whole section in the middle of a piece just on chimes to give that extra little oomph. They have fewer overtones and a purer sound. You'll now have a chance to play them with our last songs. America the Beautiful will come first, and then we'll do Let There Be Peace on Earth. Please be brave, and you'll find that it's easy. Just take a song sheet that matches the chime by letter name. Notice that some words are circled. On those words or syllables, you play. The lines under words tell you when to damp so that your note won't clash with the next note. The music will happen like magic, I hope. So everybody take your chime and hold it. Don't touch the little thing with the letter on it. Just hold it underneath that where it's easy. Yeah. up, you can hold your paper in one hand and the chime in the other. It's up to you, whatever makes you more comfortable. You don't have to be watching anybody. And if you'd like to sing softly, everybody has a mask on, and I think it's safe to do that, or just hum, just to keep the rhythm in mind. You don't have to sing it right out loud or anything, but just to have a nice little obligato to go with the chimes would be nice. Okay, so let's try America the Beautiful. We have two verses of it. And we are starting on the F, so play the F. That tells us where we start. Oh, okay, ready, go. Oh, beautiful and we need a B flat. There you go. Let is the first word. All right, ready and go. Few more words before closing. My cousin recently posted a quote, author unknown, on Facebook. It's exactly how I feel about those who no longer play with us. I think of my good friend Lana Gerhardt, who died several years ago. We played all of her favorite bell and recorder pieces at her memorial service. For years, Lana came early to rehearsals to help me climb the ladder to the stage loft to retrieve the bell cushions and then pry the bells and tables out of the little storage closet in the Harvey Hall, where we rehearsed in those days. Here's the quote. "It's tough when you miss musicians you used to perform with, but if you miss them, it means you were very lucky. You had amazing people in your life to share your passion for music. Not everyone has that, and thank you to my friends here for sharing music with me." The closing words are from Rodgers and Hammerstein's The Sound of Music. "A bell is no bell till you ring it. A song is no song till you sing it. And love in your heart wasn't put there to stay. Love isn't love till you give it away. Until we meet again, blessed be." Now we'll enjoy the organ postlude.
Coffee hours out.